Market, and this month at 2Ps we are celebrating mothers and other special women in our lives with a series called Connecting with Creativity. And this series is all about how we have connected with other women in our lives through the just different crafts. And one of the things that I have always loved to do with some of the women in my family is sew and create. And so I've come up with a paper crafted theme that goes along with this. It's a card and a home decor piece that I'm going to teach you how to make. So let me get started we're going to start with the card. So what you will need to do for the card, simply cut an A2 sized piece of cardstock, and you can go ahead and fold that and set that to the side. And then I've cut a piece of pattern paper, and I've taken my sewing machine and just sewed a double border around the edge right here. And then, let's see, on to the next step. I'm going to be using a lot of supplies from October Afternoon's Five and Dime collection. It's new at 2Ps. So this piece of blue striped paper is from the Five and Dime 8x8 paper pad. And all of the papers in the paper pad are the same patterns as those of the 12x12 paper in the same collection, except they've been scaled down to size, which is really nice for card makers like me. So what you will need to do, you'll cut two rectangles, one of the striped and then one out of black cardstock that's just a little bit larger than your pattern paper. And we're going to go ahead and trim or round the top two corners. And then I'm going to do the same with my cardstock. And sometimes I think I've used my corner rounder so much it's become a little dull, so I'm just going to use, this is just a little sander, and just smooth out the edges because I had a little bit of frayed edges there. Okay, now I'm just going to adhere these together. Alright, and then you can take a hole punch. I'm going to use my Crop-A-Dile, but you can use just a regular office hole punch too. And just put a hole in the center top of your paper. And what we're doing, we're creating sort of like a button card, an old-fashioned button card, or just a a sewing package that you might have seen years ago. And let's see, I'm trying to find the end of my crochet thread. This is a roll of cream crochet thread that I got from the sewing department at my local craft store. And this whole roll is about, I think it was about $2.50, and I use this all the time and it will last me forever. So this is it's just a nice cheap way to add detail to some of your projects. So I've just taken a piece of this crochet thread and we're going to put it, I've looped it, we're going to put it through the hole and thread that back through and secure. And then you don't need to trim this off yet. I'll show you, we're going to do something with the end of this in a few minutes. So the next thing that we're going to do, we are going to add some rub-ons to our little panel here. This is a sheet of rub-ons from the same collection, the Five and Dime collection. I'm just going to trim out what I am wanting to use here. Let's see. I think it's easier if you trim off of your rub-on page instead of just applying it directly from the full sheet, because sometimes you'll get part of the rub-on that you don't want on your piece if you don't separate it. So these rub-ons are very, very easy to apply. They're a lot nicer than a lot of other rub-ons I've used. So you just separate the backing and discard that. I'm going to put, this says price 50 cents. I'm going to put that in the corner. And I'm just using a bone folder. You could use a popsicle stick, pretty much any flat tool to rub this on. and then this is a row of stars. We're going to add that to the lower portion. These just rub on so smoothly. Okay, and now we are going to add some stickers. This is the 5 and Dime shape stickers set. It comes with tons and tons of really nice stickers. So the first sticker that I'm going to use is this, it's like a craft colored doily. Let's see. Put that right there. And then I'm going to use a little section of stickers from, this is the word sticker set from the 5 and Dime collection. I'm just going to place that underneath the stars. Okay, now we're going to do a little stamping. Let me get my stamps out here. The first set that we're going to be using is from the company Lawn Fawn, and the set is called So Lovely. And I'm going to use the So Lovely sentiment stamp and apply it here to my block. This is just some black ink. This is Jenny Boland's fountain pen. It's my go-to ink right now. And just going to stamp that directly onto the sticker. And then, let's see, let me get another block here. Well, actually, I'll just take this one off. I'm taking the little needle from the same set and inking that. And I'm just going to apply this stamp directly onto the bottom of the sentiment stamp, and it looks like now that the needle has been threaded with the sentiment. Okay, so we are finished with this little panel. We're going to head back to our pattern paper piece, and I'm just going to tie some ribbon around the base of this panel. Okay, now I'm going to teach you how to make the coordinating wall hoop. So what you'll need is just a small wooden embroidery hoop. So I'm going to separate this. The first thing that I'm going to do, because the wood wasn't exactly the color that I was wanting, I'm going to use my Mr. Uwe's Color Mist and just basically stain my wooden hoop. I've used this so much that I'm about out of this ink here. Hopefully I will be able to make it around. There we go. I'm just going to take a paper towel and even this out just a little bit. And this will dry really quickly. By the time we're ready for the hoop, it should be nice and dry. Okay, to create the inside of our hoop, what I've done is I've taken the hoop and traced it onto the larger pattern paper that coordinated with our card, making it about a ½ an inch larger in diameter than our wooden hoop so that it has room to fold around on the inside of our hoop. So what we're going to do now that we have the circle cut out, we're going to take a piece of striped pattern paper. I'm just going to put a couple of strips of glue here, and this is just going to go right on the bottom of our circle, and then I'm just going to run another strip of adhesive and place some ribbon right over that. And now we can flip that over and just trim off the excess. The next step, we're going to apply some border rub-on. So I'm going to just cut a piece from the same rub-on sheet that we used earlier for the card. And this is okay, now we're going to be doing a little bit of stamping. So we'll be using the same So Lovely set that we used earlier, and I'm going to be using this dress form. So we're going to be stamping this several different times. And I know I have a white background here, but I have a paper doily that you can get from the baking section of your craft store. So I'm just going to stamp directly onto the doily. And I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to stamp a second time onto this pink pattern paper. And then another time onto this cream cardstock. Okay, now I'm just going to take my Copic markers and add a little bit of color. We're going to be paper piecing this, so a lot of this you're not going to see, but I like to go ahead and add color to where we're going to be placing the pieces on top, because you'll see later when we add dimension to some of these stamped pieces, you can kind of see underneath the paper pieced images, and I like it to all look uniform in color. So I'm just going to add, and this doesn't have to be, you know, very detailed at all. You just don't want to get out of the lines. And it's really the main areas that this is going to be seen are the outside edges. So I'm just sloppily coloring that, and I'm just going to set this aside, and I'm going to add a little bit more color to this panel. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to trim out the pattern from this image. Whenever I paper piece, I like to go just exactly on the line of the image. You don't want to leave any excess paper on the outside, because that will show up. So basically just be kind of careful and just go right along the stamped line. Okay, and then I'm just going to separate this into two sections so that the sash is a different color. Okay, so this is what we have remaining. I'm just going to adhere that down to this stamped image. And I'm just using my tape runner to glue this on, but I really like the, let's see, what is this called? The little Xeron. These are great for paper piercing paper piecing, because you can just shoot these little tiny pieces through, and they're going to provide an adherent back, and it's perfect every time. But I'm out of my tape and my Xeron, so we're using just regular adhesive here. I'm going to cut out the portion that I want from this cardstock. Okay, now I finally have the finished paper piecing, and let me see, I'm trying to find my glue dot, or my foam dots here. Okay, so I'm just going to put a couple of foam adhesive dots here on the back, just to pop this off of the doily. Okay, and then this just goes directly over the top. And if it didn't make any sense earlier, what I was talking about, whenever you look on the side of this finished piece, you can kind of see down into the inside of those portions. That's why I like to just go ahead and put a little bit of marker on them, because then the color is just solid throughout. Okay, now that we have this panel done, I'm going to remove the paper from our hoop, just momentarily here. I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of my doily. we're just going to put that outside hoop back on, and it's much easier now that the paper is dried and is it in the form that we want it. And then you can go ahead and tighten down the top of your hoop. Alright, and then for the last steps, I've just taken a couple of buttons and then used the crochet thread, tied a bow in this one, and placed crochet thread to this little one. And I'm going to use a couple of glue dots. And just adhere those right here on our hoop. That little guy there. And that is our finished hoop. You could easily personalize this by putting maybe some wording up at the top, or maybe putting someone's name here at the bottom. But these are very simple to do. You could also do these with fabric, and I think it makes a really cute gift set. Thank you so much for watching.